Music.
Let us bow our heads. Happy Monday, everybody. My name is Mike Jimenez, and this is the Alamo City Sportscast coming from San Antonio, Texas. Joe Garcia producing today's show. A big show, as always, because the Spurs season has come to a close. We're going to reflect on the Spurs season, the good, the bad, and the ugly when it came to this past season, what to look forward to in the offseason, the upcoming draft, and all the things going on with the silver and black. We'll talk about Wemby hanging out in the stands, hanging out in the concession stands, should I say. We'll get into that as well. We're going to talk about the Masters. Scottie Scheffler, stud, dude, stud. Is he the new Tiger Woods? There will never be another Tiger Woods. But we've heard names like Sergio Garcia and Rory McIlroy and all of these players that were supposed to be the next big thing. But Scottie Scheffler, I think, is that guy, man.
You think so?
He is that guy. Dude, resilient. Bryson DeChambeau. This is where when you drive too far, it actually hurts you. Bryson DeChambeau was like tin cup out there after getting the lead after the first round. But we'll talk about the Masters a little bit as well. Again, the NBA. Hey, the batting brackets. The finals are here.
It's getting real.
The vote was the final poll was posted just 15 minutes ago, and already shots are being fired. It's like, how dare we have a non-Latino win, right? That's basically all I've been hearing this morning, right? So we'll update this as well. It's a 24-hour poll, so it's going to wrap up tomorrow at 10 a.m. Hey, everybody's suddenly in love with Saturday Night Live again. Remember, about a month ago, everyone was like, oh, man, that show sucks. It should go off the air. And the last 4 episodes, people are like, God, this is the best Saturday Night Live we've had in years.
You know why? Maybe because they got their writers back,
Yeah, they've done a little bit. They've become more nostalgic is what it is. Like what they're doing right now, I think they understand that their demographic is not young, that their demographic is probably 40s and 50-year-olds. And they're keying in on that. And we saw that yesterday. We saw that the week before that and the week before that. They're doing something a little bit different out there at Saturday Night Live. So we'll get into that as well. Joe, how was your weekend?
Weekend was good as usual, man. I got to see UFC 300 with my boy Jonas Clark. We're just chilling in the backyard. Had a little fire going.
Yeah.
One of the best UFCs that we have seen to date or thus far into the year. It was great, man. Exciting. Matches were stacked from the undercard all the way up to the main event. It was just amazing to watch, man. I had a good weekend. What about you?
Dude, I did karaoke roulette this weekend.
You had to spin the wheel, or was it a virtual wheel?
No, so basically, I've gone to this place called Who's Who for many years.
I remember that place.
Back in the day, it was just called Who's, H-O-O-Z, and now it's Who's Who.
Isn't it off of Evers or something like that?
No, it's Babcock and Callahan.
There it is. Yeah.
So it's like right behind the Ding Howe, if you will.
Yeah.
In that area. So when I was there, they do what's called karaoke roulette. Not everybody's doing it, right? I'd say half the people are and half the people aren't. So a karaoke roulette is that you don't know exactly what song is going to come on for you to sing.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it gets your blood pressure up a little bit. You get a little bit antsy as to what they're going to do because, you have this preconceived notion of what you want to sing because you've done it before, or you've done this song before or that song. And don't get me wrong, half the people are going up there and giving their name, giving who they want to sing and whatnot. The guy inputs it. But if you want to do karaoke roulette, give him a genre. He'll pick the song for you.
Okay.
Give him an artist,
all right,
and they'll pick the song for you. So the first time I went up there and I said 90s pop. This is 90s pop. So I go up there. I have no idea what song is going to come on.
Britney, bitch.
And then no, dude. Why do you always say this, man?
Because I know you hate it.
It is same-sex specific, dude.
I know,
dude,
but
I'm
just
hate
saying.
It when guys sing girl songs.
I
know.
Sing
guys
That's
songs.
why you hate it. That's why I bring it up.
Me off, man. No, because I go karaoke sometimes and they do that, and it's so stupid.
Oh my god, dude.
So I went up there and I said 90s pop, and all of a sudden, they came out with do 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 do. So little Semi-Charmed Life, right? By Third Eye Blind.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool. I had done that song before though. So the second time I went up there, I was like, you know what? George Michael. I love George Michael. Okay. He is in my top 10 list of favorite artists of all time. Not afraid to admit it. And I went out there and I said, George Michael song. He goes, will you do Wham? I said, sure, why
wow.
not? I said, sure, why not? So I don't know what I'm going to do when I go up there, right?
Well, you're a fan of Wham too, because you
Yeah.
watched the documentary.
Documentary was great
Yeah.
on Netflix. He chose Father Figure from the Faith album. So I'm up there singing Father Figure, which was nice. The curveball, though, was later on, like towards the end of the night. It was my turn again. I said, do something from the Killers.
Okay.
When you hear the Killers, you think Mr. Brightside, Somebody Told Me, Spaceman, For Reasons Unknown. There's a lot of songs that they've sung that people will karaoke. But he chose All These Things That I've Done.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a great song. I had never karaoke that song before.
That's a hard one.
The first 6 seconds were awful because I couldn't find the, when there's nowhere else to run.
Well, it's modulated.
Yeah,
them.
And he sings it high up front. Yeah. And the first 6-7 seconds completely off. But then I kind of like the song pauses for a second.
Yeah.
And then I just went for it. And I nailed it, dude. I nailed it. I'm not a great singer, but that was kind of in my wheelhouse there. I got soul, but I'm not a soldier part. It was fun, man. It was fun. So I love karaoke. I hadn't been in a long, long time. The last time I had gone to karaoke, well, we had one over in Helotes with one of our former sponsors,
Serenity
Manor. I did it over there. But before that, Jason Minix from San Antonio Sports Star took me out one time to karaoke. And I was wasted.
Oh man, it's bad.
It was the worst time ever.
Yeah.
I went to the restroom and I came out and I said to myself, I'm too wasted to sing. And then all of a sudden I'm going back to the DJ booth to like take my name off. And they're like, Michael, you're up on stage.
You're like, damn.
Just like, damn it. He paid $100 for me to sing next. And he knew that I was drunk off my ass. This is how you know this is a Jason Minix thing, man. He likes to pick on people sometimes. And he knew I was too drunk to sing. And it was the worst 4.5 minutes of my entire life.
That's what I'm here for, man.
So Tim Gonzalez reaches out and says, let's see Mike Jimenez sing Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, you're down for Backstreet Boys. You and Pledger like them.
Fire. What's that?
You and Pledger like the Backstreet Boys. NSYNC.
Pledger likes NSYNC. Yeah. I'm more of a Backstreet Boys kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? No, but I like karaoke, dude. It's fun times. And the good thing about it is that, karaoke people are fun people to be around. They're the nicest people you'll come across.
It's like a support group. They're the biggest supporter. Go, go, go.
It's a therapy session. There was this guy singing Open Up Your Eyes by Tonic, the mid-90s song.
Yeah, I remember that.
And you can tell he was either A, nervous, or B, was afraid to like let loose.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because he's like turning around with a microphone. And it wasn't on stage. Back in the day at that place, you would go on stage to sing. Now you sing in the middle of the bar. Or you sing at your booth.
Okay.
And he was out there. He was struggling for the first 30 to 45 seconds, right? And I'm just there right in his eyesight at some point when he locks eyes on me, and I'm like going, open up your eyes. I was like, I was like singing it along with him from my chair.
Yeah.
And he got his blood pressure going a little bit, the adrenaline. And he sang so much better the last 2 minutes because he had a support system of somebody in the room who actually liked that song. When you karaoke and you realize that nobody knows the song or doesn't like the song, it sucks.
Yeah, but it's hard to get up there, get the courage or muster the courage to sing in front of people.
Yeah, when I did All These Things That I've Done, again, it's a popular Killer song, but it's not their most popular song. They'd be like Mr. Brightside, right? But what was interesting was that there was like 5 or 6 people in the bar that were really into the song. They were really getting into the performance, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I'm not a bad singer. I'm not a good singer, but I can hold a tune, if that makes any sense. You've gone with me to karaoke one time. Did you go?
We went to Stout House.
Oh, the Stout House. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I think I did Bobby Brown that night.
No, that was at Serenity Manor. The other time, I forgot what song you sang, but we had that old bird that was singing over there. The Barfly.
Right. Oh my God, that's right. She was good.
Yeah, she was pretty good, man.
She was good, dude. There are some karaoke veterans, man, who go every week. I used to go pretty frequently, but I haven't like I said, I used to go like at least once a month, but now it's like once every 4 or 5 months.
Too busy working.
I know, man. And then also karaoke nights sometimes start at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
Oh yeah, kind of late, dude.
It's kind of late, man. I'm in my mid 40s now, man. I don't want to do that anymore.
I want to go sleep with my dogs.
Exactly. But what's funny is that Who's Who gets going at 6.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. I was karaoke and the sun was still out.
Yeah, Serenity Manor, they started early too. I think, right?
Yeah.
They had that family night.
Yeah, they did. They had the game night as well.
Look at our boy Christopher Leja. He said he's feeling in the giving mood. He says he wants to partner with us to maybe do a jersey giveaway.
That'd be badass.
That's cool, man. We should do that.
Hey, man, MCS did a fantastic job over at my house. I'll post the before and after photos. I was working on my yard before posting the photos, but no, they did an amazing job out there. Mike can sing Michael Bolton.
Yeah, do some Kenny G.
How am I supposed to live without you?
What about some Kenny G, dude?
Kenny G is saxophone.
Saxophone.
Na, 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 na.
Oh,
the fact that I
man.
know Songbird in my head.
Oh,
Oh, my God.
man.
What's it called? Nothing wrong with Michael Bolton, man. I celebrate his entire catalog, as they say in the movie Office Space.
Look at Tim Gonzalez. He said he ran into Frank Harris at the UTSA game or something.
That's
like that.
that's amazing. The number of people who reached out to me about last week's shows about Frank Harris and the Von Erich brothers. A lot of people reached out and were like, "This is a good thing. You know, a little bit more of this, and we're going to want to do more of this." Programming note, by the way, and Joe, a little reminder: I'm not going to be here most of next week.
Yeah.
So I have a business trip in Charlotte, North Carolina, that I go to. I my day job, if you will. Every 6 months, I have to go to North Carolina, and that's next week. So I'll be there for 3 days. So we'll have probably some rotating guest hosts.
I think I'm
going
gonna
to
bring on Matt Lerma so we can talk a little bit about Spurs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
and maybe
he'll
Christopher Leja.
he'll counterbalance my pop takes on this end over here.
Yeah, you were gonna have, and I'll have to do a little intro for him because you're always calling him the pop apologist.
Yes.
You know.
He got mad one time when I said that. And it's not an insult. It's just, that's what it is. Like I honestly believe that if Spurs go 26-56 next year,
No.
he's going to be like, oh, well, we got 4 more wins than last year. We're on track in pop. There are some people who will be in pop we trust until the end of time.
I don't see anything wrong with that, though. Being positive about getting a couple more wins if the team is playing better consistently.
Well, let's talk about that, man. So I was at the Spurs Club on Friday night when the Spurs won. They came from behind and beat the Denver Nuggets. That was an exciting game. Wemby just went off. Spurs were down by more than 20 points in the third quarter. Wemby goes off, and I'm thinking to myself, it's going to be one of those games where the Spurs catch up and get within 4 or 5 points and then lose.
Yeah.
But the Spurs started chipping away, and just when you thought that
they were left for dead,
Denver was going to get the dagger down the stretch.
Yeah.
You see that rebound by Trey Jones and the outlet, and all of a sudden Devontae Graham does this floater for the game winner with less than a second to go.
That was amazing, dude.
It was amazing, dude. The whole place was electric. At the Rocket Lock and Terra, they had probably a couple hundred people watching the game from the grassy area on the big screen. Yeah. It's a great setting. I was in the country club area of the Spurs Club upstairs.
You were looking down on the little people?
Looking down at them as they celebrated down there.
God.
No, dude, it was exciting. By the way, it was interesting. The Spurs Club is interesting. The drinks were pretty good. The food was not as expensive as I thought it was going to be. It's pretty nice. Maybe that should be a giveaway. Maybe
an experience
at the Spurs Club.
That's cool
because I'm allowed 2 guests per day.
Hey, that could be a thing too, man. But you know what? I was watching this Spurs game against Denver.
Yeah,
and I was watching it with my boys. I was watching it with Christopher Leja. I was watching it with Matt Lerma. Watching it with Castro and Son Solar. With Sith Lord Elias. We're all in there kind of watching the game, and we're doing a watch party, a new thing, kind of saying, I had done this like 4 years ago with Jeff and some other people. We'd watch movies in the middle of the day during COVID.
Yeah.
As we were all working, we're watching Star Wars or something. So I'm like, hey, we have done this before. Let's try a Spurs game. So we all watched the Spurs game together, and we're switching between the Spurs game and SmackDown.
Okay.
And then the Spurs game started getting interesting. We're like, Hey, switch it over to the Spurs game. So we started watching it, and we saw them win in real time, dude. And we're all excited and yelling, it was fun. It was fun.
It was fun. It was a great game. Hand over fist asking the question about the Spurs club is MJ a member? Yeah, I am a member. I became a member officially on Friday. It's one of those things where I applied months ago, had to go through a vetting process and all that stuff, and ultimately they accepted my request to be over there. There's 300 members. They're still learning. It just opened a few weeks ago, for crying out loud, and it's just basically all it is a nice restaurant and bar and a meeting space. That's all that it is as of now. They will expand to do more things as time goes on, but it's nice, and there's a lot more that goes into it. Like if you're a member of the Spurs Club, you can actually shuttle to and from the Rocket La Cantera to the Frost Bank Center.
Oh,
so
nice.
they'll take care of you in that respect.
Really?
So that you don't drive home, tipsy or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting things like that. They have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner menus there. A really nice bar, but there are a lot of rules. It's no different than a country club.
Yeah.
And the reason why I wanted to join was because I saw how they did it with the Dallas Cowboys out there in Frisco, and that's the idea of what they're doing. What they have in Frisco is kind of what they're bringing to the Rock. And I've always been excited about the Dallas Cowboys version of it all because it's done very well. The same company that did the Cowboys, experience there is doing the Spurs. So it's a bunch of Spurs fans getting together. It wasn't really, I thought it was going to be like Pinky Up type of thing.
Oh yeah.
It really isn't. Dude.
Lowbrow.
I mean, it's a nice place.
Yeah.
But everyone's wearing jeans and a long sleeve shirt or jeans and a polo. It's not
or blazer
or a blazer. I wore a blazer.
Yeah.
It's nothing. It's nothing fancy.
Not a black tie affair.
No,
Yeah.
no. It'd be comfortable for most people, but it is an experience because it overlooks the basketball court.
Business casual, I guess you could say.
Yeah, business casual. Yeah. It overlooks the basketball court where the Spurs practice.
Oh, that's a nice view.
And you can actually go to the training. Like when they are actually practicing, you can overlook it as well. So maybe we'll give away some experiences to that where I'll take you guys over there.
But full disclosure, no video, no pictures allowed.
No video, no pictures allowed. Though I did see people taking pictures. It wasn't like Selfie City or anything like that. They weren't getting mad at things like that. I did see that, but it wasn't too bad. Hanover Fist says Michael showed up in a suit. I did. I did. Midtown Texas says shirts tucked in and no sneakers. That's exactly it.
Gotta wear the nice shoes.
No chanclas allowed. No jerseys allowed unless it's game day, and no shorts.
Look at it, Sith. I like this one. He puts it's La Cantera.
It's La Cantera nice. We're gonna add that. We're gonna add that to the vocabulary over here. That's funny. D'Lo says no free drinks or food. Nope. It comes with the you pay a membership fee, and then you got to pay for the food itself. But
look at Midtown Texas. I want to win a date with Mike at Spurs Club.
Let's make it happen.
Yes.
So part of the whole thing about it is why am I a member there? It's because I'm a Spurs fan first and foremost, but B, I'm using it as a business expense.
Oh yeah, because you have clientele.
Dude, what I do for a living is I take people out to eat. Because I have my clients who do their investments or insurances through me. And if I had to give them the choice of saying, oh, you're a new client, do you want to meet me at my office or do you want to meet me at the Spurs Club?
Spurs Club, of course, is
Spurs
nicer.
Club. And it's just a way to entice people to come and do business with me.
Talking business, pulling up to the bar. Hey, would you like to have a drink?
Yeah.
It's a nice place.
Yeah, and there's a lot of business owners who are over there using it as their quasi office. Let's talk about the Spurs, man. That game on Friday was awesome, and they end the season with a victory against the Detroit Pistons. Spurs won 6 of the last 10 games to end the year.
Not bad to match last year's record,
Yes, so they weren't any better than last year, not any worse than last year. That was the fear because how do you add a Wemby and have a worse record? Spurs the entire year were flirting with having the worst record in the 51-year history of this franchise. But they win 6 of the last 10. We're trying to see if it's half glass full or half glass empty when it comes to it. Because a lot of Spurs fans are super excited by the fact that the Spurs won the last 6 out of 10 games and are saying, you see, Pop is doing it, baby. Pop is doing it. We're now on the right path. I'm not excited by the last 10 games.
Oh, I know you're not.
Well, I'm going to tell you why I'm not excited.
No,
Was Devin Vassell playing?
no. Jeremy Sohan playing?
Was Jeremy Sochan
No.
playing? Was Keldon Johnson playing?
No.
So the Spurs did better without three of their big components, their two starters and their six man.
Yeah.
And a lot of Spurs fans are there going, well, you see, that just shows that the team is getting better. And I'm thinking to myself, what twisted logic is this? Because they're winning with Mamu out there. They're winning with Devontae Graham out there. They're winning with a lot of players who don't normally play. And when the season starts next year, Mamu ain't starting. He ain't getting big minutes. Might not even be on the team next year.
Yeah, he might not be.
Devontae Graham's not going to be playing, not going to be getting significant minutes.
Let's see if he's on the team next year.
Right.
You know?
So why am I getting excited? Why would anybody get excited about 6 wins in 10 games from players that are not going to be on the court next year?
And you also had a lot of the younger players playing from, the Austin Spurs, the G League. They were getting a lot of run.
Yeah.
I think it's indicative of a team that's playing that the other team doesn't really know a lot about those players.
Mhm.
And they're playing loose. They're just having fun out there, seeing what happens. Whatever happens, happens. High energy. A lot of these players didn't get a lot of playing time during the regular season. It's their kind of, their time to shine. They're playing loose and they got nothing to lose. So it turned into wins.
Now, the thing is, though, is that had they won these games with Vassell, with Keldon,
and
Sochan, I would have taken it a lot more seriously. I would have been like, okay, maybe there is a trajectory. Maybe they are catching their stride. Maybe they are. But what did we see with them in the lineup? Because
they were competitive.
Because unless the Spurs make a big move for a Trey Young or somebody like that, we're bringing back Sochan. We're bringing back Keldon. We're bringing back Vassell. There's a better chance of that happening than us making a big move.
Yeah.
So we know what the Spurs record and what they look like when those guys are on the court together.
Yeah.
Maybe the pieces of the puzzle don't fit. Because when the Spurs were out there with Mamu out there and with Devontae Graham, they played better because they got the ball to Wemby. They got the ball to Wemby in the spots that he wanted to get it, and there was a different type of transition. There was a pick and roll component to it that wasn't always there when Sochan was out there or Vassell was out there. They played better, more free. Dude, Wemby played better. Think about that. Wemby played better without Vassell out there. Wemby played better without Sochan. He played better without Keldon.
But here's the thing, and Matt Lerma brings it up. He's saying all those guys weren't out for all 10 games.
Matt, they were out 8 games each. I looked at the numbers, dude. I don't just show up here and just start talking sometimes. Sochan missed 8 of the last 10 games. Keldon missed 8 of the last 10 games. Vassell missed 8 of the last 10 games. Now, it doesn't mean that they missed all 8 come together on the same game, but they all missed 8 of the last 10.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying what happens with this team is that it's better for them to end the season knowing that they can win some games versus losing the games.
But can they? Because it's not the players that are going to be on the court next year.
It might not necessarily be the same roster, but the morale overall is you'd want to go out winning versus losing. Because if you go out losing, that doesn't set a good mantra for you coming back next year. At least, hey, you ended the season on a high note, knowing that you were winning with the pieces that you had out there. Maybe you can build on that for next season, and it might translate into a couple more wins.
Okay, so that's the glass half full. The glass half full is that maybe that's a psychological thing for women.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that I'll buy into that, right? I'll buy into that. It was important to get these victories for Wemby.
Morale.
Right, to like go into the offseason thinking to themselves, okay, well, we can build on that. Great.
We can get better.
We can get better.
I'm saying, yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if 3 of your biggest players weren't there and you were doing better, what the F? Come on. The light didn't just suddenly turn on. Secondly, why wasn't Pop playing these players before? Why were Mamu and Graham stable to the bench?
Well, that's an easy question to answer because they wanted to go ahead and see what they had in the younger players. Unfortunately for Mamu and for Devontae Graham, there wasn't enough minutes to go around because they want to kick the tires and see what they have in these younger players. Are they going to pan out for the future, or is it something that they have to go ahead and cut and say, hey, might have to let them go, see if we can get some picks or make some trades?
So I asked on Twitter, I'm at MJ Acquire Taste. Joe is at Two Shots Podcast. What is your letter grade for Pop coaching this season? What letter grade would you give him, Joe?
For this season and Coach Pop and
A, B, C, D, or F?
Oh man, I'd say that Coach Pop, honestly, he did the best he could do with the pieces that he had.
Mm-hmm.
Spurs matched their win total or lowest win total in franchise history. I'd give him a solid C.
Yeah, I would give him about a C, C minus. And by the way, 127 people have voted in this poll in the past hour. Okay, well, that's a lot of people to vote in an hour. Get this, dude. 22% give Pop an A. 31% give him a B. 25% give him a C. And 21% give him a D or an F. That is polarizing, Joe.
Look at what one of our listeners is saying. JHNSB from YouTube. He says, I called this stretch without Vassell and Sochan just prove we don't need them. Mamu accepts his role better as a supporting cast.
Okay, so I appreciate that comment because I think there's a lot to be said about that. I think that there's a lot to be said about that because Spurs fans become enamored. They fall in love with certain players because they wear the silver and black, right? And I get that. They're our team. They wear our colors. They're good in the community. But the question becomes, are they good for Wemby? This is not about the team. This is not about Pop. This is not about R.C. Buford or Brian Wright. This is not about anybody. This entire franchise is all about Wemby all day, every day, every day. All day, every day, it's about Wemby. That's it. That's all we have to focus on.
Look at what Van Steen says. He says, Trae Young is super expensive. Maybe next year. I mean, the asking price for Trae Young is quite high.
The thing about it is this, is that, you know, the Spurs might burn 2 first-round draft picks this year. So the number of draft picks that we have actually gets depleted if we wait a year.
Yeah, and the same, what's going to happen with the Toronto pick? If it's, top 6, isn't it?
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So the Spurs right now, because they won 6 of the last 10 games and because they beat the Pistons, instead of having a bottom 3 record, which would have gotten them a 14% chance of winning the NBA lottery like they had last year, they dropped to the 5th worst record because Portland and Charlotte, lost all their games down the stretch for the most part. And the Spurs had the 5th worst record. And when you look at the stats, the odds of them picking in certain places, the Spurs now have a 10.5% chance of going first, 10.5% chance of going second, 10.5% chance of going third, 10.5% chance of going fourth. There's a 2% chance of going number 5. So if you add all that up right there, that is a 46% chance of landing in the top 5, which means there's a 54% chance that the Spurs are drafting 6, 7, 8, or even number 9 with their own pick. Now, that number 9, the odds of that are less than 1%, but really, there's a 20% chance of being number 6 and a 27% chance of being number 7. So a lot of Spurs fans are thinking, oh, we have the 5th worst record. We'll actually go at number 5. There's only a 2% chance of going 5. We're either moving up or moving back. That's the thing. Now, that Toronto pick is top 6 protected, and right now, Toronto has the 6th worst record. You take a look at it. The Spurs have a 54% chance of picking up that first-round pick and a 46% chance of not getting that pick.
I look at Van Steen. He says, I hope the Toronto pick won't convey this year because next year is a deeper draft.
See, and the thing is, Vane, I'll push back on that, man. Everybody knows that next year's a big draft, right? What is the incentive? Toronto knows this too. What is Toronto's incentive of winning next year if they know that the 2025 draft is big? They would have no incentive to do that.
If they want to go ahead and signal what trajectory they're going to be going for in the offseason, they might make some trades and do much like the Spurs did.
Well, they have,
and get rid of their vets.
They did.
They got rid of
Pascal Siakam. They did 4 trades at the trade deadline this year. And the Raptors, I mean, they have Scotty Barnes, who's a really, really good player.
Yeah.
But there's no incentive for them to win. So then you push it back another year, and then all of a sudden it becomes a second rounder. So right now, the Spurs have their own pick, which is going to be somewhere between 1 and 9. They have a 54% chance of having Toronto's pick, which would have to be 7 or higher.
Yeah.
You go beyond that. Let's say it doesn't convey. The Spurs have their own pick next year. We have Atlanta's number one pick, no protection on it. So even if it goes number one, the Spurs get that pick. Spurs have a top 6 with Toronto next year if it doesn't convey this year. The Spurs have a top 6 protected pick.
Yeah.
Chicago's is top 10 protected. And then you have Charlotte's, which is top 14 protected. The Charlotte pick's not going to happen.
No.
And that was part of the DeJounte Murray trade, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I think to myself, I remember from the get-go thinking to myself, that pick is never going to convey. Because if it doesn't convey in the first couple of years as a first-round draft pick, it'll become a second-round pick down the road or a couple of second-rounders.
It's still not bad. You could still get some value there in the second round.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago is bleeding players. They'll probably bleed players this offseason. That pick might not happen.
Yeah.
The Toronto pick, I'm kind of suspect about. Spurs have a chance of having 5 first-rounders next year. But in all honesty, we're probably going to have 2.
Yeah. But one thing you can't mistake is that this is going to be one of the most crucial off seasons for this team. I think in the last 15 years, maybe 20 plus years, that they have to do something. They know that they need to surround Wemby with some weapons.
And here's the thing,
I
don't think they're going to do anything.
They have to do something. And I'm not saying that they have to go after some elite level talent. Like I was saying before, even on today's Locked On Spurs, because I'm the guest, I was saying that they need to go ahead and surround Wemby with players who can actually make buckets. And it's either going to be get a vet or 1 or 2 vets that can shoot from beyond the arc consistently, or get some, players that can shoot from the perimeter, because that's the problem with the Spurs, is that they don't have consistent shooters.
Well, let me ask you this. I asked this question on Twitter. If the Spurs make no major additions this offseason, okay, they're going to pick up some free agents, right?
Yeah.
But if it's a Seti Osman type of player, that's not a major addition.
No.
Okay, I'm talking about a top 25, top 4, maybe not top 25. Let's say a top 50 player in the NBA.
Okay.
They make no major additions. What is your prediction for next year? Are they still a lottery team? Are they a play-in tournament team? Or are they a playoff team?
I'll put it to you this way. We've seen the worst version of Wemby, because this is his rookie year.
Right.
And if you make the comparison of the player that he was when he came into the season, beginning of the season to the end of this season, it's night and day. Year 2 Wemby is going to be even better. I think that's going to translate into a couple more wins for the Spurs. But I still don't think it's going to be good enough if they go ahead and run it back with this team they have. I think they might go ahead and be flirting with close to 30 wins, but I don't think it's going to be beyond that if they just go ahead and run it back.
Okay, so it took 46 wins to make the play-in tournament this year because the West is so deep. I'm sorry, man. If they don't make any major additions, we're back in the lottery in 2025. It just is what it is.
And I think it might translate to more wins, yes.
And we have 123 people who have voted on this morning. 50% say still a lottery team. 44% saying the Spurs would make the play-in tournament, even if there were no major additions. 6% believe the Spurs would be a top 6 team in the West to make it to the playoffs without the plan. We have a super chat coming in from the Drew Show.
Yeah, there it
$10.
is.
Thank you so much. Cha-ching. Says free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, the Spurs season is over. Get rid of everybody but Wemby. Get a new GM, a new owner. I might not get there with you, but the promised land is nigh. By Devin. Okay, so
Drew wants to get rid of everybody, trade the whole team.
I know. I'm kind of. I mean, I'm not going to beat a dead horse, right? Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 says that he's going to have something dropping today that is going to be something that's going to get under my skin a little bit. I cannot wait for that. Don't forget to subscribe to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5.
You know what? Let's give Jeff some love.
Let's do it. Let's
give him some love. Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
Hey, I subscribe on Spotify.
I
I
do too.
also subscribe on YouTube as well. But let's go back to Drew Show's comment there.
Yeah, trade everybody.
Trade everybody.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get mad. I wouldn't get mad. And people were roasting me on Twitter thanks to Chris Leha yesterday and I was talking to him on the phone earlier today because I was saying, dude, I posted something on Twitter for maybe a minute or two, and you grabbed
30 seconds. You
30,
said.
yeah, and you screen grabbed that so fast,
man.
And the reason why I deleted it, by the way, wasn't because it was unfactual. It was actually true.
Yeah.
It was simply because I wanted that to be a talking point for later on in the week.
Okay.
So I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to save that. I even screenshotted it myself. I'll save that idea for later on because you don't want to, fire off too many.
Well, you were talking EFG, your favorite stat, effective field goal shoot percentage,
or true shooting percentage as well as another
TS. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. He did improve, and it's funny.
I don't know. I mean, I'll show you what I found.
The tweet that I have out there that I took off, right, said you ask 100 Spurs fans about Jeremy Sochan's shooting this year, they'll all say 95% of them will say he got better this year.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
You're not factoring in what he had to do in the beginning of the season, which is essentially play point guard.
Can I challenge that?
Go ahead.
He actually shot better as a point guard than he did as a forward.
Okay.
So you see every excuse that Spurs fans give has no basis in reality. It just sounds right. It just sounds right to say, well, he was playing out of position. That's why he sucked at shooting. No, he actually sucked at shooting because he sucks at shooting. And he happened to play a little bit better with the rock in his hand shooting the ball earlier in the season. When he was playing his true position, he actually shot worse. Remember earlier this season when it was like, look at him, Jimenez, knocking down threes at a 40% clip. And what did I say? He's going to get down to what? Can get down to 30%. No one believed me. And then I upped it a little bit, right? I said, okay, well, maybe he has improved a little bit. Maybe he'll settle around 32, 33%, and I'll consider that to be a victory. Where did he finish at? 30.8.
Yeah.
The guy can't shoot. And if you look at his free throw shooting, his field goal percentage went down 1.5%.
Yeah.
His 3-point shooting's up a little bit, but his 2-point shooting went down. And when you equal it all out, effective field goal percentage, identical. And then Chris Leha from MCS General Contracting says, well, his true shooting percentage went up from 50% to 51%. Ha, 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 ha. And I said, you do realize that 51% means you suck.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. The true shooting percentage, right? If you go back to the 22-23 season, he was at 0.509. For this season, 23-24 season, he finished at 0.513.
What's considered average?
Probably about maybe around 50%.
0.55.
Okay.
And by the way, 0.55 to 0.51 is not, oh, well, he's almost there. No, that's like saying that a 250 hitter and a 300 hitter are the same thing in baseball. No, he ain't close. He ain't remotely close.
So what I'm saying is that in these two seasons, when you average those out, his true shooting percentage, the average is 0.511.
Right. And the true shooting average, by the way, incorporates free throw percentage.
It does.
So because his free throw percentage went up about 7 or 8 points this year, his true shooting. But what I'm saying is the effective field goal shooting kicks out free throws and says, what are you doing when you're shooting the ball and the clock is actually running? It was identical, like literally to the 100th of a percentile, identical. Field goal shooting went down 1.5%, but because his 3-point shooting went up a little bit from 24.6, and everyone's like, well, he improved from 24%.
Yeah.
Okay. 24% is like one of the worst shooters in all of the NBA at 3-point shooting.
I gotcha.
It couldn't have been worse.
MEZBX on YouTube says,
thanks to Michael Jimenez for being the one guy in the Spurs local media for calling out Pop in the front office.
And this is the irony in this statement here.
Yeah.
When we were at the Mike Taylor barbecue, I will not name names, but I'm saying it was funny to me how many of the local media here, besides you, were thinking the same thing that you were thinking.
Oh, yeah, but I'm the only one who says it.
You're the only one who says it. And I'm not naming names. I'm not calling people out because these were private conversations. It was just surprising to me to just, hearing people talk, just talking shop, just having a normal conversation. And they were thinking the same thing you were.
Yeah. And it's funny because that's why I say that I'm not media. Yeah. Even if I do get a press pass or a credential, I don't consider myself media because All I am is a fan with a microphone, and it's a microphone given to me by Joe Garcia.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all that I am. I've lived in the locker room. I've done the locker room life. I've done post game interviews at Spurs games. I did that for like 5 seasons.
Who was the one player that got
tired.
mad at you? That gave you shit when you got in there?
Oh, Doc Rivers.
Doc Rivers.
But Doc Rivers did it as a joke. Doc Rivers yelled at me, and I kept asking him questions, and he put his arm around me a little bit. And he was like, dude, because I know you're young, man. Tall tale, right? I know you're young, but it'll never be worse than what I gave you right there. Fire off your questions, my man. I'm just glad you kept shooting, is basically what he was saying.
Yeah.
I found that to be interesting, but Doc Rivers was ultimately a pretty nice guy for me. But, just going back with the Spurs here and the comment of get rid of everybody. I think what the last 10 games has shown is that the only player that belongs on this team is Wemby, and everybody else is expendable. For so long, I thought Vassell was like not expendable. For so long, I thought Sochan wasn't. For so long, I thought that I would like to have this player and this player and this player still on the team. At this point, dude, if the Spurs got rid of anybody on this team not named Wemby, I wouldn't give 2 craps. Wouldn't give 2 craps. I guess that means I have no more sons, Joe. I have no more sons, right?
You don't have no more sons. But here's the thing. You say you don't have no more sons, but if you saw, I retweeted this yesterday, or, on the X. And it was an excerpt from Lonnie Walker, and they were asking him, what are you going to do in the offseason? And he's like, I just want to play with the team who can give me consistent minutes, And he says, oh, pray about it. I mean, Lonnie Walker on this team, if they can get him on the cheap, what do you think?
People make fun of me for so long for being a Lonnie Walker guy. I thought he got a bad run with the Spurs.
Yeah.
Part of being an NBA player is having a defined role on your team. You want to know how many minutes you're going to get played. You want to know in what situation, because mentally you have to prepare. And there's so many Spurs fans and just sports fans in general who always say, well, you know what? You gotta be ready when your name is called, right? You gotta be ready when your name. Dude, that's the stupidest comment of all time. Okay, these are professional athletes. They need to know their role on the team. Okay, not just like, hey, Walker, you haven't played in 6 days. Go out there and win us the game. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, and I kind of felt like Lonnie Walker was always like, you're a starter one day. Oh, you do one mistake and you don't play the rest of the game. Remember when Pop did that to him? He made one defensive error, and it's like midway through the first quarter. We didn't see him for like 3 games. What kind of crap was that, dude? That's not good coaching. That's just stupidity is what that is. But Lonnie Walker would get 12 minutes, 35 minutes, 2 minutes, not play, 40 minutes. He was all over the place, and his shooting was erratic as a result. And then now you see he goes to teams where played for LA, played for Brooklyn. He went to teams that were going to play him at least a defined role.
Give him some minutes.
Give him some minutes. It was fewer minutes than what the Spurs gave him, though. But it was minutes where he knew when he was going to check in. He knew when he was going to check out. He knew his role, right? So he played 23 minutes per game for the Lakers. He played 17 and a half minutes for Brooklyn. And you take a look at what he did. Let's look at these stat lines here.
Somebody said on here that Lonnie Walker is Malachi Branham.
Okay. A better shooter than Malachi, though. You take a look at it. 3-point shooting this year, he shot 38%. So look at that. From his last season with the Spurs, where he shot 31% from 3, he went to 36.5 for the Lakers, 38.4 with the Brooklyn Nets. Okay. Now his points per game went down, but the reason why they went down was because he played fewer minutes. He went from 12 points a game to 10. But he also played 6 fewer minutes. So if he was playing 23 minutes, he'd be right where he was before. This would be a cheap player to have. He plays okay defense. Not great, but he plays okay. He knocks down his free throws. He's a decent shooter. Effective field goal shooting of 53% this year, which isn't bad.
But would he be an upgrade from anybody on this current roster?
See, that's
the dilemma.
Do you believe
in
Malachi Branham or not? Because
Exactly.
as of right now, he's better than Malachi Branham.
Yeah.
But Malachi Branham still has upside potential. Malachi Branham is still 20 years old.
Yeah, he hasn't reached his ceiling yet.
Whereas Lonnie Walker will be 26 years old when the season starts.
I don't know,
year.
man. If I was the Spurs and you see Lonnie Walker, a lot of Spurs fans I know frown upon bringing Lonnie back, but they do have a point in Malachi Branham. Bring him back one more season, see what you got in him. In lieu of trying to sign somebody like a Lonnie Walker type of player,
right?
So
Matt Lerma coming out and says Lakers sent him to the bench for most of the season. Well, they were also a playoff team, so he wasn't. He wasn't the best player on that team. Austin Reeves really was getting those minutes back in the day a couple of years ago. And again, Spurs fans were like, who would want Austin Reeves, man? Dude, I hate to say it this way, but if Austin Reeves was black, you'd want him on this team.
Well, the Spurs actually tried to sign him last season.
They did.
The asking price was too high.
He's a very good player, dude. He's a very good player, but this is where the reverse discrimination comes into play. If Austin Reeves was black and was putting up these numbers, Spurs fans would want him.
I think Spurs fans wanted him last year, but the asking price was too high.
I don't know, man. I
from what I saw on the X, the Spurs fans were excited and being like, "Hey, if we get Austin Reeves, can you imagine pairing him with Wemby?"
Let's see what he's making. 4 years, $56 million. That's not much, dude.
Spurs just didn't want to.
That's $14 million.
Yeah, they didn't want to pay.
That's $14 million. That's not a lot.
Well, the Spurs were paying already. They had already extended offers to both Zach Collins and Devin Vassell at the time.
Austin Reeves is such a good player, dude.
Yeah,
he's such a good player. He gets posterized once, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, "Oh, you see, he sucks. You see, he sucks." 37% 3-point shooter for his career. The guy's just a stud. Look at his career effective field goal shooting percentage, 58%. Dude, 60% is elite. 55% is like really good. And he's at 58.
JHNSB says, what are you guys saying? Spurs love white guys. That wasn't me that said that. Was Mike.
No. So the white guys we have are like with flavor. Who are the white guys that we have on this team? Manu was
Zach Collins.
Okay.
You got Zach Collins on the team.
That's funny. Matt Lerma says, if there's anything Americans are, know that know that it's being racist towards white people. You know what? The only place where that's really effective is really on the basketball court, man. There's a reason why White Man Can't Jump was called that. It just basically, there's a stigma against white players, dude.
Oh, yeah. They have Chetty, too. Chetty's the other guy.
Yeah, well, but these are Euros, man. So I'm not really.
Zach Collins.
Zach Collins is basically like he walked out of Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, but either way, what we got on the topic of this discussion is the Spurs are at a critical juncture right now because you have to do something to help this team get better because you're going to have Wemby in year 2. He's going to be on his rookie contract for 4 years, right? So you don't want to kind of waste years. I mean, this first rookie year was a developmental year. It wasn't a wasted year. You wanted to see what you had in both Wemby and you wanted to kick the tires with some of the younger players that you have now. I understand that.
Right.
But moving towards next season, you got to do something between now and this offseason and before the start of the season to get this team better. Right now, the Spurs front office, Brian Wright, they know that there's a problem, and if they decide to do nothing and you know what, we like the team we have, that signals to you again, Spurs fans, that this team is not going to be very good, and maybe they're going to be another lottery team.
And that's what I fear is going to happen.
Yeah, they stand pat.
That's what I fear is going to happen. We've been seeing reports. Brian Windhorst the other day on Sirius ESPN radio was coming out saying that they don't expect the Spurs to do much of anything this offseason.
And that would be a shame.
So if the Spurs go out there, get Reed Shepherd and Rob Dillingham, or only get one draft pick this year and go out there and field basically the same team,
expect the same results.
We're going to expect the same results,
because
I know everyone's like, well, Wemby will never be worse than he is now. Okay, well, great.
He can be better, and this is the thing. His overall numbers might improve next year, but the numbers and the stats for the team as a whole are probably going to be the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Because his surrounding cast isn't any good. The team was 22-60. Everyone's like, they won 6 last 10 games. They were 22-60, one of the worst teams of all time. And this is the 5th losing season.
And one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA.
Yeah. and it's not magically going to get better because they play again next year. If the talent's not there, the talent is not there. NBA draft lottery, by the way, that's the big step, right, for the Spurs. Sunday, May 12th is when that's going to happen. In the next few days, we're going to find out who wins Defensive Player of the Year. I didn't see what exact date that's going to be, but last year was done on April 17th. So
look at what
I'm
DJ
assuming it's this
Bosco
week.
says. Wright is the problem. A lot of people are saying Brian Wright is on the clock in this offseason to do something to make this team better.
Mhm.
This is a critical juncture where Spurs fans are going to come back and look at this offseason, and they're going to grade Brian Wright by what he does or doesn't do.
The Spurs are not saying it, but doesn't this feel like trust the process?
We like the team we have.
Doesn't it feel like what the Sixers did years ago to get Ben Simmons, to get Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey? Isn't that what the Spurs are doing? They're not saying it, but isn't what the Spurs doing right now is just basically we're going to feel the bad team out there, and we're going to hope to win the lottery a couple of times.
Yeah, look at what Tavares is saying. He goes, Lord, he goes, Spurs eyes focus on 2025 draft. And if they're focused on that and they do nothing this year, they're going to have to make some huge moves next year in that draft.
And that's a big ask of Wemby to say we're punting on your first 2 years.
Yeah,
I know he'll only be 21 years old, and I know he's saying all the right things, and a lot of people were tagging me. They're adding me on X, coming out and saying, you see, Wemby says that he's okay with this being a long rebuild and all stuff. Again, we don't know what he really thinks, dude.
Look at
that's the stupidest thing ever.
We're
storming Brian Wright's office if nothing happens. Okay, so we don't know what anybody thinks about whether the Spurs rebuild. Are you calling Wemby a liar? I'm just saying we don't know his real thoughts, man. That's what I'm saying. And again, Brian Windhorst of ESPN saying that that's not going to happen. The Spurs won't be making any major moves. We like the team we got. Dude, the Spurs are acting like the Cowboys. It's interesting. I was taking a look at the ballots for Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, yeah, that was interesting.
Wemby ain't going to win it.
Yeah, I don't think he
I
is
saw
either,
3 ballots that were officially published this weekend. One came from the Washington Post, one came from Yahoo Sports, and I believe the other one came from Bleacher Report. And the 3 of them have all Wemby's name was not even listed on 2 of the ballots for Defensive Player of the Year. Vegas has Wemby as the second best odds of winning it. Now, one of the guys that was on there who released his ballot had Wemby winning overall. He was like, hey, he was first place on that ballot, right? But the other 2 were not even on there. You saw names like Rudy Gobert. You saw names like Anthony Davis. Chet Holmgren was named over Wemby on somebody's ballot.
That's insane,
Wemby's not going to be there. And then when they named the all-defensive team, first team and second team, there are some people who are leaving Wemby out altogether. So he's not going to win Defensive Player of the Year, and it ain't even going to be close. Now, all these people are voting for Wemby to be Rookie of the Year, but these Defensive Player of the Year honors, first team All-NBA, second or third team, ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen. Vainstein says they need to make the votes public. They are public. I would say the vast majority of them are public, and they do not believe Wemby deserves it because, again, even though it's an individual award, the team defense sucks because this team was 22-60. He's not going to win the award. Not going to.
I think,
and he may not even be first team all NBA defense.
I think he might at least be that. I mean, how can he not?
He's being left off of ballots altogether, dude.
And I think if that's the case, it'd be unfair because they're going to say, "Well, look at their record." Well, it doesn't matter with the record.
It does matter, dude. And no one wants to hear it. I mean, no one wants to hear it. And I know these are individual awards and all that.
Yeah.
How many MVP awards go to teams with losing records?
I understand that because the MVP usually is going to be on a winning team. That he actually is the focus of that team. He makes a difference when he's in the game. He makes that team go from maybe a C level team to an A level team because he's there in the game and he affects the outcome of the game. The only thing I'm saying is that Wemby affects the defense for the San Antonio Spurs when he's out there versus when he's not in the game.
So what are the criterias? And Matt Lehrman might know this, so go ahead and reach out to us on this one. The criteria for winning this to getting a Supermax contract. Don't you need to be an All-NBA player? Right? Don't you have, or you win an award like Defensive Player of the Year or whatnot?
Yeah.
By the Spurs?
Rookie of the Year?
Is that one of them?
Think so.
I gotta look that up. Maybe that is. Let's see, criteria for super max NBA contract. I hope the Spurs aren't okay. Simplifying the super max. This is according to Villanova Law Review. Okay, so the super max is basically the max contract plus and then some.
Van Steen says you need to be all NBA.
Okay, it says eligibility requires a player to be named to an all NBA first, second, or third team, defensive player of the year, or MVP. Okay, so if the Spurs are outright tanking right now, we're not going to be making any major additions.
Moves, yeah.
And now we're halfway through Wemby's rookie deal. Aren't they costing them money at that point?
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. Because in order to get, you can get a max contract to anybody, but this super max contract is what they go on. If the Spurs are fielding a team that's going to win 20 games, 30 games, he's not going to be named to a first team, second team, or third team all NBA team. He's not going to be a defensive player of the year, no matter what he does. He can go block 8 shots a game. If the Spurs are winning 25 games, he's not going to be it.
No.
And I'm not saying that it's right, but I get it. Because if Wemby played, here's the thing. We take off the silver and black goggles.
Yeah.
If Wemby played for the Lakers or Wemby played for the Houston Rockets, and we were watching it from the outside in, would we be like, oh, yeah, man, Wemby deserves it because he's so great defensively, individually? Or would we be looking at the Rockets, a Wemby in a Rockets jersey going, yeah, but they suck. They were 22 and 60. We'd be saying the exact same thing. And no one wants to hear that. But again, Supermax is on the line at some point.
Oh, look at where the Timberwolves are, because Rudy Gobert, right? He plays for the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
Timberwolves are going to finish in the Western Conference as the 3rd seed. You know, winning 56 games, they've only lost 26. The number 1 seed right now is the Thunder at 57-25. 2nd seed is going to be the Nuggets with 57 and 25 wins, but I believe the Thunder have the tiebreaker against the Nuggets. That's why they're number 1 right now. But either way, it shows that Rudy Gobert is on a winning team.
He's on a winning team with a lot of good defensive players. But, you know, people will say don't. This is where I'm not trying to be contrarian, because people always accuse me of that. They say you're just being a contrarian. But being, that's why I think I'd be a good juror. I've never been a part of a jury, but I think I'd be a good juror because I want to be able to see things from both sides.
Yeah.
I even though I'm a Spurs fan, people will always leave the comment on Twitter, Jimenez, just be a fan for once. I'm like, I can't think that way, man. I look at things objectively at all times. I cheer for the Spurs, but when I go to the Spurs games, I don't complain about every single foul call, because I go look at that and I go, yeah, Sochan did foul him.
I'm looking more at how the team plays out there and how they run their defensive schemes, how they run their offensive sets. And one of the things that I really did notice this year, I dropped my prescription pills right there. But one of the things that I did know is looking at the team, the spacing, you know, as far as like their offense, the way they run their offense, it's not there yet. You know, they still are a team that's looking like they need some seasoning. They need to learn how to play with each other. And more importantly, they need to learn how to play a little bit more effectively with Wemby being out there on the floor, learning his idiosyncrasies and where he likes to be out on the floor, how he likes to kind of, you know, drop back a little bit. He wants to shoot first versus being in the paint and trying to bang bodies and whatnot. And one of the other things that I noticed about the team is Devin Vassell needs a lot of touches in order to get his points. And the more touches he gets, the more he takes away from Wemby.
Yeah, it has to be a Wemby-centric team.
It does.
Very much so. And I think you put that very well. Matt Lambert reaching out and saying that Wemby is defensive player of the year. He's not going to be. I mean, he might be the most on an individualized basis. I know it's an individualized award.
He gets my vote for defensive player of the year. Wemby does, because he affects the game when he's out there from a defensive perspective.
Right.
He does.
But at the same time, it's a team game also, man. And I understand the logic. I'm not saying, because we can't just take that away just simply because it's our guy. Because if Wemby played on another 22 and 60 team that was not the Spurs, none of us would consider him defensive player of the year.
Look at this.
None of us would.
Chris Leha says Alvin Robinson won defensive player of the year on the San Antonio Spurs team with the losing record.
Alvin Robertson also had a record 301 steals that season. That is a record from 1985, if I'm not mistaken, that still holds up.
Yeah.
Alvin Robertson is the all-time steals single season leader 30 years later. That's how absurd his steal stat was.
Despite what happened to him off the court, on the court, he was a hell of a player.
Alvin Robertson's the second best point guard the Spurs have ever had.
Yeah.
Tony Parker's one, Alvin's two.
Well, Tony Parker's in the Hall of Fame. It's hard to argue he's not a good point guard.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So Alvin Robertson's a very interesting case because if you watched him play, that guy was something else, man.
Oh, no, I've seen
something else.
I've seen him play in person.
So, the Spurs postmortem is over. Again, 22-60. No improvement in wins. No decrease of wins. If I was to give it, I'm going to give Pop a C- on the year. The thing that I liked about Pop, even though I complained about it, was he load managed him in December after he rolled his ankle.
Yeah.
That was the right thing to do. Sitting him out the last game of the season was the right thing to do. I think that the Spurs did a fantastic job. The best thing that Pop did this season was manage the minutes and manage the load for Victor Wembanyama. That's the best thing he did. When it came to everything else, hey, man, we have a head coach who is going to be 76 years old next season. Yeah. 76.
He's getting up there, man. But look at what Matt Lerman says. He said, I would consider Wemby Defensive Player of the Year no matter what team he played for. He's undeniably great.
We say that we say that because he's a Spur.
No, he is a great player. And it's not just
we say
us.
That because he's a Spur.
It's not just us that said it. It's a lot of other NBA greats have said the same thing.
I'm not saying that he's not the best player, the best defensive player. Because when I think of Defensive Player of the Year, when I think of that, I think of stock, the stock category, right? Steals and blocks, and that's what he does. He also gets his fair share of rebounds at nearly 11 per game.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that it's inconceivable that he should be considered. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that I also do know how the cookie crumbles. I do know how teams and how voters vote, and they vote on it from a team effort. The Spurs weren't any better this year with or without him.
Yeah, they had the same record. I understand that.
They had the same record. And because of that, you put all these variables together, and you could be like, well, when he's on the court and when he's off the court, it's two different things. And I get it. I get it. But the thing about it is that these voters don't watch all 82 games of all 30 teams out there.
Yeah.
They don't. And that's just the way that it is. So the way that it is you're typically who is the best defender of a good team wins Defensive Player of the Year. I'm glad that Leha brought up Alvin Robertson. That's an anomaly. That's not like normal. That's not the way that it is.
Tavares, if Trey Jones had started, how many wins? Unfortunately, it didn't matter if Trey Jones started
probably
at the point guard position.
3 or 4 more wins, probably.
It wouldn't have translated to 10 more wins.
It would have been 26 and 56 or something like that when it was all said and done.
I mean, look, man, I like Trey Jones. I think he's a really solid point guard, but he's not going to be that guy that's going to make a difference.
Yeah.
I
mean, he's just a decent player. He's not going to be the point guard of a winning team. Scottie Scheffler won the Masters last night in Augusta, Georgia. The interesting thing is the 5th time a UT Longhorn has won the Masters. Jordan Spieth won it. Ben Crenshaw won it. A couple of them multiple times. This is Scottie Scheffler's back a second in 3 years at Augusta. Dude, I think this guy, 27 years old, I think this guy is it, Joe. I think this is the guy. We've been looking at John Rahm. We've been looking at Brooks Koepka. We've been looking at golfers like Sergio Garcia and Rory McIlroy. Who's the next young stud?
Tiger Woods, the next Tiger Woods.
There'll never be another Tiger Woods, but Scottie Scheffler is just laser focused. There was on moving day on Saturday, had a bogey and a double bogey, fell off the lead from first all the way down to 4th, and I was like, oh, wheels are coming off. And what do? He battled back, got the lead back at the end of the round. And over the next 6 holes.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, man, that guy is just fearless. Bryson DeChambeau was completely opposite. He's on fire. When things go wrong in a hurry for DeChambeau. He hits the ball too damn long, man. Too damn long. I mean, I understand it's great. Everyone's teeing off at 315, 320, and he's going 370. That's great, but you're now between clubs on your second shot. There's a reason why you only hit it so far.
Yeah.
DeChambeau, though, man, was like Tim Cup out there, dude. He was just shanking things like crazy. On Saturday, on the 18th, 150 yards out, holds it to end the round. But man, Scotty Scheffler yesterday. The big news though was he actually going to leave the course if his wife went into labor? Because he said all week long, including after the first, second, and third round, my wife goes into labor, I'm leaving the course. She was 36, 37 weeks pregnant. What are your thoughts? Do you think he actually would have left if he was if he has 4 holes to go and he's about to win the Masters for a second time? He wasn't gonna leave, dude.
I think he would have left. I don't think he would have given a damn. He would have said, "My wife's comes first."
Yeah.
I mean, you go 4 more holes. What is that going to do? I mean, you win all that money, but you miss the birth of your child. That only happens once.
I see that, but you don't win very often either. No. When it comes to it all. But hey, UTSA finally had their head coach coming by. His name is Austin Clonch, and I want to stop people from tagging me on photos of his wife.
God.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that. Oh my God.
His wife is Latina.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to bring it up. He posted it on Twitter.
Let's see. You have it on?
And is she a nugget or not?
Oh, yeah, dude. She's nice.
She's an actress from Mexico. Jimena Gomez.
Wow. How about
is
that?
The wife, 32 years old, the wife of Austin Clonch, the new UTSA basketball coach who came by his first time ever as a head coach in the college ranks. He was the assistant coach for Alabama. They made their way deep into the NCAA tournament. But everyone was sending me this photo going, Jimenez, Nugget. The number of people who sent me this photo, Jimenez, Nugget. Yeah, she qualifies as a Nugget. Hey, you know what? He's from Argentina, by the way. He was born in Argentina. Knows Spanish. And on top of that, I was on her TikTok page and he acts in her TikToks. She has like 500,000 followers on social media. Way to go, Austin Clonch, dude. Standing ovation, my man.
Oh, look, we've gotten some people who said they need to go. We need to go ahead and get somebody from the Spurs front office here in the studio. And look at this. I know who these guys are. Dilo says you all should reach out to SSPN. They are 2 guys who have a show they tend to do after each game. Kind of reminds me of this layout. They're pretty good with their analysis and would love to see them on. I get that. And that's the thing that we're going to wind up doing. So we're going to have some changes to the show starting this week. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that we're going to wind up doing is we're going to go ahead and kind of pivot and start trying to get in some more of the local talent that we have here. Maybe some live streamers, podcasters are kind of in the same realm of what we're doing. And that way we can go ahead and extend the olive branches here and, show the people some other content creators.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Austin Clonch has actually followed me on Twitter over the weekend, which is nice, man. So very, very, very cool. Kind of a weird segue into the baddie brackets. She's going from one nugget to the next. Here's the latest right now. As of right now, we posted this poll an hour and a half ago. Already 89 votes. Who is the hottest celebrity of 2024? And currently, Salma Hayek is in the lead, 64% to 36. Was there any doubt? It was 50-50 when the show started.
I know, bro.
So what has happened is, Leha has gotten all the burner accounts out and has been voting like crazy.
I mean, this was bound to happen. We called it when we started the baddie bracket, and we said overall Salma was going to be the number 1 overall seed.
Well, and here's the thing, man. It's all nostalgic. Salma Hayek is beautiful. She'll always be a 10. Yeah. Okay. But if a 57-year-old Salma Hayek walked in the bar and a 26-year-old Sydney Sweeney walked in the bar, no one's looking at Salma Hayek.
Oh, come on.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. It's not. I'm looking. She's a 10. I'm looking, but Sydney's walking by. Sydney in her prime is walking by. That's the thing, man. I mean, I'm trying to tell people it's about 2024.
Sydney, but Salma, I mean,
Salma's beautiful. I'm not saying that she's not, but I'm just saying everyone's posting photos of Salma Hayek from 1996. Dude, she started acting in 89. I love me some Salma Hayek. She's beautiful. She's a nugget. She deserves to be in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. But number 1 overall in 2024, get the heck out of here. Get the heck out of here with your nostalgic nonsense.
I'm just
get
saying,
out of
man.
here. If From Dusk Till Dawn never existed, right? And those memories of that bikini from back then, right?
It don't matter, dude.
No. From Fools Rush In when she's dancing which got me going back in the day when she's dancing and cleaning in the kitchen and all that stuff. That none of it existed. And we just said, oh, here's a new actress who's 57 years old. Her name is Salma Hayek. No one would care.
She walked into the bar.
It is all nostalgic, man. Dude. No. All nostalgic. D'Lo, nostalgic driven dub.
No, man. She's still a showstopper, man.
The next one was the Sith, which is out. I had to vote Salma or Leia would beat me. Get the heck out of here.
Oh my God.
Get the heck out of here with a 57-year-old lady. Come on, man.
But dude, yeah, I would go for Salma.
The hottest woman in all of Hollywood's 57 years old.
Hey, she's pretty hot, dude. She's pretty hot.
Gotcha.
She's not gonna turn your head. She walks.
Oh no, she'll turn my head. Of course she would. Salma Hayek. Of course she would.
You're gonna be looking.
She ain't the hottest woman in Hollywood right now.
She's the hottest woman. Now, she's the hottest woman in the bar, dude. She comes in.
Well, I mean, Charles Barkley would agree.
Yeah.
But from 96 to like 2010, I mean, 1 seed all the way through.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm not saying she's the hottest woman in Hollywood. I'm saying she's a nice looking woman.
Oh, she's beautiful.
She comes into the bar. She's going to be probably one of the hottest women
she's
there.
She's beautiful. She's a 10.
Yeah.
She's a 10. But again, like Fernandez was asking the other day, or as he mentioned, there's a difference between a 10 and a hard 10.
Yep, there is. Shit pot. Remember?
She was a hard 10 for 20 years. Now she's just a simple 10.
Oh, Lord.
Chris Gonzalez is down and says 88 or 24. Salma's still hot and sexy. Not 88. Talk about 1988.
Oh, Salma hot, but ain't the final boss. Look at this. Just out of curiosity, what's the prize for winning?
Oh, it's all, what is it called? It's bragging rights.
Yeah, bragging rights
is what it is. Chris Gonzalez says Sydney's only been in the game for 1 season. No, it's been a few years, man. She's been doing a lot, man. Sydney Sweeney didn't just come out of nowhere.
Oh, Sydney isn't a hard 10.
Nah, she's a hard 10.5 is what that is.
Oh, look at this. Matt says Tyler would win for sure.
Who's Tyler?
I don't know. Look it up.
Tyler. Don't know who that one is. Although I did ask a question about Demi Lovato.
Yeah.
Demi Lovato would have gone to the Sweet 16.
You think so?
Yeah. She's a hottie. People are sending me gifs of see, look at that. Like David Otwater is posting photos on Twitter of Salma Hayek from 1996.
No,
this is a VHS tape. Okay, the Cowboys were good when these were taken. Okay, it's different, man. It's different. Yes, she's a baddie. Now, JHNSB asking the question: bald Demi Lovato? You know what? It's very hard to look hot bald, man.
Oh man,
guy or girl. But Demi Lovato had her bald streak there for a little while. I know Halsey did as well.
Oh yeah, she did.
Still hot, not as hot. I want her looking Latina, not crazy, but still Latina. Hey, everybody loves SNL again, dude. Congratulations, Saturday Night Live. They love. Did you watch SNL this past weekend?
I did not, dude. I was busy watching the UFC 300.
I'm gonna try to call this up real fast.
Oh man, Olivia Munn would have run that bracket. I don't know, man.
Years ago.
She used to be a nugget back in the day, but recently,
yeah, when she was in the newsroom and she was at
yeah.
So Ryan Gosling was the host this past weekend, and I got to show this to you once the commercial comes off. This is courtesy of NBC, Saturday Night Live, and all at 30 Rock over there.
Let's go ahead and see what you put.
It was a News Nation thing, kind of like conservative talk, right?
Oh,
and Heidi Gardner is one of my favorites on SNL. She does a very, very good job. By the way, the storyline of Heidi Gardner was she was for many years a hairstylist who wished that she could be on SNL, and she was asked to join an improv group, and she just got better and better and better. Yeah. Just random audition for SNL, no chance of her getting it. She actually got it, and now she's one of the best. But Ryan Gosling's in the back over here.
Jeez.
Looking like Beavis from Beavis and Butthead. and the guy that she's interviewing, which is Kenan Thompson, is having a hard time concentrating because he's supposed to be talking about the dangers of AI, and he keeps looking over at Beavis.
Jeez.
So anyway, so it goes on, and he complains about Beavis being there, saying, "I can't concentrate because the guy next to you looks like Beavis." So it goes on where he says, "Please have him moved." So he moves, and she goes, "I have no idea what Beavis and Butthead is, but I'll go ahead and move him." The conversation continues, and there's somebody new that sits right behind her as he's talking to her about AI again. And he looks over and
God,
there's Beavis.
Beavis and Butthead.
I'm going to go ahead and assume that Heidi Gardner has never seen him before because she never breaks character. And she's like, "What's going on?" And she goes, "There's Buttheads behind you." She goes, "Don't say that about the crowd." And then she looks back, and the look that she gives, it's that guy with the exposed gums over there.
Jeez, man.
Look at this. He calls him out. That guy over there. She lost it.
Yeah, they're all laughing at her too. Look at it. Oh God.
So he asked for him to be removed, right? And people are responding back with questions like the questions from the audience were, does he need TP for his cornhole for his butthole?
Oh God.
And then later on he goes, "Why did you sit them together?"
Jeez, man.
So anyway, people were responding about this. And then last week you had Kristen Wiig, who had hosted for the 5th time.
Yeah.
And then before that you had Sydney Sweeney. And they're doing a lot of nostalgic things, man. They did Beavis and Butthead. Kristen Wiig did this whole thing about not wanting to be Jumanji'd.
Oh, man.
She doesn't play board games because she doesn't want to be Jumanji'd. She doesn't want to be sucked into the game. And it actually comes to life. And she's like, "I told you all, we're going to get Jumanji'd, right?" And then before that, Sydney Sweeney doing an Air Bud thing.
No.
Dude, every week they're doing something nostalgic. And now people are getting back on board with SNL going, "Wait a minute, maybe the writing is pretty good." But the whole Beavis and Butthead thing was hysterical. Although Ryan Gosling broke character on every single thing he did. Mario Cavazos reads out and says, "That was some funny shit, man." And it was. It was. Jesse A saying when Sydney Sweeney was on SNL, giving the eye emoji.
Yeah, I remember
she
her.
was amazing. The Hooters episode was good.
All that stack of money.
Yeah, all the girls were like, "I got $41 in tips. How much did you get?" See, 34, 35, 36,000.
Oh man.
Oh, that was so good, by the way, when they ended it. When they're talking about AI, and then they ended it with this. Like, I gotta pause it because it's so quick. Talking about guys in Texas who got laid off because of AI.
Oh,
and it was
God.
the King of the Hill.
King of the Hill.
Hey, how they got the woman to look like this dude, like Joe Treve or whatever his name is.
Oh God.
No John Redcorn though.
No,
that was pretty good.
Look at D'Lo. He says, "Y'all seen Dave
McAniman?" I can never pronounce his name.
He's engaged to Malika Andrews.
Really? Wow. I'm looking it up. Malika Andrews. Now she is if we did a reporter nugget, she'd be a top seed. Malika Andrews. Although Rachel Nichols says that there's no beef between the two. I don't know if I buy that. Dude, SNL's getting good again, man.
It is, man.
They got Marcelo Hernandez on there. They have a little bit more of a Hispanic flair to it all. He's pretty good. Kate McKinnon's coming back on periodically to do her thing.
Yeah, she's pretty funny.
I saw they had a lot of guests on when Kristen Wiig was performing. They had the dude who plays Ant-Man, Paul Rudd.
Yeah, Paul Rudd.
They had Paul Rudd out there. They had Martin Short. They had John Hamm. John Hamm did like a kind of a spoof of Mad Men the other day. That was pretty good. They're figuring it out. They're realizing that people don't want to hear about politics so much anymore, and they're also realizing the fact that their crowd, their audience is 40 years old. Their audience is 50 years old.
Sith says talk UFC,
Screw
and then Chris
that.
Gonzalez says UFC sucks.
Yeah, dude, I can't talk UFC. There's too many fighters.
Yeah, the thing is that you have to be a fan of the UFC and follow it extensively and know who the fighters are, the matchups and all that kind of stuff. Same thing goes with boxing.
Yeah,
and I'm just a fan of that naturally, so I've been following it since I was a kid, boxing. I got into UFC.
You have to follow UFC
and boxing
because back in the day when it came to boxing, there was like heavyweights out there. There's Mike Tyson, and then when Tyson finally lost, you had Evander Holyfield, and you had George Foreman, and then you go to Lennox Lewis, and then you had all that, and there was a lot of big guys there, and then it got boring when the Klitschko's became a thing, right? Because it's just plotting, type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, you had the middleweights, whether it be Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Thomas Hearns, Roberto Duran. You had all these guys.
Yeah.
And then it got boring when Floyd Mayweather Jr. was unbeatable because all he did was just defend the entire time. Didn't hit anybody for so long. He was just defending the entire time. And it got boring. So there's certain streaks to it all where I identify with a particular type of category. Then you have the Arturo Gotti. You had Mickey Ward. And you had guys that was great. And then it died off. And my thing about boxing is right now is like, dude, really the most popular boxer right now is probably what, Jake Paul? Not even a boxer.
No, it's not going to be Jake Paul. I mean, you got your Canelos, Haney, you got these other.
No, Canelo's fine.
Guys.
Canelo's popular.
Yeah.
It's very popular. And I like watching Canelo fight, right? Nothing wrong with watching Canelo fight, but you have one good fight, and then it's like, they start
Canelo's style is very similar to Floyd Money Mayweather because he's very defensive. It's not very exciting matches. He's more methodical about it. He uses a lot of his defense, and he waits for the opposing fighter to make mistakes, capitalizes on it, and starts, breaking them down early with body shots and whatnot. His punches are powerful. He breaks that fighter down. Then when it gets into the later matches, he starts pouring it on again. And then as it comes to the end of the fight, he'll start going, okay, I won this. I can tailor back a little bit and just be smart about things so he doesn't overstep his boundaries, go in there and get knocked out. He plays a very smart game, and people hate Canelo.
Yeah.
He's boring and this and that.
He is boring.
He is, but I mean, if you don't like the guy, you got to beat him.
It's been a long while since Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah.
Oscar De La Hoya was fun to watch. It was also fun to hate. Manny Pacquiao was fun to watch and fun to hate. Sith is reaching out to us saying, go rewatch Rocky. He says his wife watched it with him and thought that Rocky was kind of rapey. It's kind of true, man. It's kind of true. The whole thing about Adrian, Rocky was a pretty popular boxer. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't get any other girl but Adrian. Yeah. And that whole relationship with Paulie, a little bit weird. But I love the Rocky movies, so I'm gonna let it slide. You know what's funny is that I watched Rocky, and I watched it from the get-go when I was younger. So again, it was John Hughes movies. I was allowed to watch the Karate Kid and the Rocky movies.
Yeah.
That was basically it, right? The whole Rocky movie, whenever people think about the movie, I think they think about it when it's about the 45-minute mark. When he gets chosen from the yearbook, if you will, of boxers, and they go, oh, Paulo Credo goes, the Italian Stallion.
Yeah.
Because they had to make a replacement because the guy broke his hand, right? So Italian Stallion, they're going to bring him in to box this exhibition. But the 45 minutes leading up to it is the fact that he's a goon. He's working for the mafia, right? He's collecting bets and collecting debts. And if not, he breaks arms or he breaks legs and stuff like that. He's like, oh man, I didn't break his thumbs because
I'm good for it, Rock. I'm good.
He owes us. He owes us money, and how can he pay us back if he can't work? And if you break his thumbs, you won't be able to work. You won't be able to pay us back.
Yeah.
And then you have that guy who's the driver telling him to take her to the zoo.
I remember that. Look at this. D'Lo remembers. Y'all get near 1K. There's a 24-hour stream happening soon. And look at what he says. We haven't forgotten about the diapers, Mike.
Well, you know,
God.
that's a great thing because I'm looking it up right now. What are we at when it comes to subscribers?
845 strong right now.
845. That's not bad.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
We need to make another push here because we still have a giveaway to hand out. But I'm going to wait till we hit 900 to give out that Tony Parker autographed, photo, authenticated autograph photo, and the T-shirt along with the Fiesta medal. So y'all want to win it, got to push us near 900.
845. Now, okay, so first of all, people were asking me before the show started, was I going to slander Pop? Did I slander Pop today?
No.
We had a review, a retrospective of the season.
Yeah.
And it was an exhausting season.
It was a long season.
The
dude.
best part about the season being over is that we can look forward to the draft and we can all simultaneously delete the Bally app.
Oh, yeah, dude. I'm canceling my membership. No need to have it. And the other thing is, one thing that we got to look forward to, 10 days from now, the NFL draft is coming up. So we're going to have to start talking about that now.
Yeah, that's what, next Thursday?
Yeah, 10 days from now.
10 days from now.
Yeah.
Interesting. Dallas Cowboys got to do something in the draft. They're going to draft an offensive lineman. You know they are. They have to. Tyron Smith is gone. Tyler Biadasz is gone. They got to get an offensive lineman. It's not sexy. Yeah. They need an offensive lineman. They need a D lineman because I don't know if Mozzie Smith is the guy. He had a kind of a questionable rookie season last year. He was supposed to clog the middle. Didn't clog anything.
Yeah. We got to start bringing the show to an end. I just saw the time right now. Got to start getting ready to clock into work, brother.
Oh, we're an hour and a half into the show.
I know. I just saw it.
My goodness. Don't forget to vote on the Batty brackets. And if you want to buy us a coffee, QR code on the top left right there. Thank you to the Drew Show for giving us a super chat today. D'Lo reminding us that the WNBA draft is today. Great joke on SNL.
They're asking if you're going to do the Spurs run before the night parade.
I have no idea what the Spurs run in. What is that?
Oh, they're going to have a run. They always do that before the night parade. They always have some type of a marathon run before the night parade starts. And as the night parade is starting and the spectators are getting there, they always cheer the runners on. They're coming to the finish line.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Fiesta de los Spurs run. Race information here. Oh, wow. This is a thing.
Yeah, it is. It's
starting line is the intersection of Evergreen and Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
The race finishes at Piazza Italia Park. It's a 5K. That's a 35 minute run. It's not too bad.
I think you could do that.
Oh, yeah. I did a 10K the other day.
Yeah, so.
The packet pickup is going to be at the Rock. I'll be there getting drunk upstairs. $35 if you actually it's $45 per runner right now, or you can register on the day of the race at $50. Kids 11 and under are for $10. You can add food, parking passes, and whatnot. There's contests out there, yada yada yada. This is a charity thing. I'll do it.
There you go. So
sounds good.
You're at the night parade, you might see Mike crossing the finish line there.
I know. And then if I slow down because I'm doing my interval running, they're gonna be like, why are you slowing down, Jimenez? Why are you slowing down?
Oh, Lord.
Everyone have a fantastic day. It is Monday here in San Antonio. Again, WNBA draft is tonight. Caitlin Clark will be number 1 overall. Let's see where my girl, Angel Reese, goes. Projected to be around number 8.
Yeah.
Right? Great joke yesterday from Michael Che, or the other day from Michael Che, saying that 12.4 million people watched the UConn, not the UConn game, the South Carolina Iowa game, and he goes, that's 12.4 million more than watched it last year.
That's a lot.
That was a great line. That was a great line. Everyone have a fantastic day. This is Monday in San Antonio. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia, Alamo City Sportscast. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. We'll be back tomorrow.